ice in the cupboard down there.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, there are a couple cupboards in the house, and you'll find you'll find stuff from I don't know, the late 90s in there. It's crazy. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's start knocking it out. You guys are on a phone or on a tablet or something?
Phone.
Okay, all right, cool. It'll be a little to see some stuff. One sec. So how was the trip from Bangalore, or for you guys, for the two of you, from Bangalore to Belgium? Was it pretty smooth?
Yeah, it was very smooth. We didn't have any hiccups. Only hiccup was once we got to Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
That is when we got the wrong bus and went to the wrong Igloo-Straat and had to come back 16 kilometers to Ghent St. Peter's and then catch the right bus.
Oh, you went to the town called Igloo.
No, there's another Igloo-Straat in some other random town. I don't know.
Yep. There is a town called Igloo. And in that town, there is a street called Igloo-Straat. But so Igloo, the town, is actually known for this thing called speculoos. Have you heard of speculoos?
No. We caught the bus number 55 there.
Oh, yeah. You guys got the wrong bus. In any case, you guys made it though at the end.
Yeah.
When did you guys figure out that you were in the wrong town?
We asked the postman. This guy on a cycle. And he's like, yes, this is Igloo-Straat, but there is no 1020 here.
There is no Maria Karke, okay.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, so I guess next time in the travel directions, I'll make sure, do not go to Igloo the town. But yeah, I guess there's always a first time. And Arvind, how was your travel? Pretty smooth from Delhi?
Yeah, it was nice, man.
Okay,
no problem.
Awesome. No problems.
I have traveled a lot, so I don't find any problem.
Okay, that's good. All right, cool. And in terms of the farm, man, what did you guys think when you first saw the place?
It's good, but a little bit. It was not so clean.
Yeah.
But it was good.
No, we liked the place as soon as we got in and went up and we saw the rooms, and the rooms are pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the bathroom was also relatively nice. But basically what happened is the three guys who got here about a week before us, they had a tough time. They showed us pictures of how the place was before they got here. Oh, wow. And they spent an entire day cleaning up, and thank God for them.
Yeah.
The bathroom was unusable and the kitchen was just a mess. The kitchen is still a mess. The freezer over here that you were talking about, this one? The freezer is basically out of any use. You open it and the whole place stinks up. So we're living with one fridge.
Freezer and the bit. And the sink also a bit.
Yeah, the sink.
Sink. Actually, the water goes down from one sink and then comes up from the another sink.
Yep, that sounds like the house, man. That's awesome. Everything is perfect. That's the thing about the farm, man. It's not a hotel, and it's as clean as the guys who left the place kept it in. And last year there was this guy named Peter there. I don't know. Have you guys met Peter yet?
We have. From Russia.
So, Pete, Yep. So. Yeah, Peter's from Russia. Michael's from Ukraine. But Peter was the guy, and who kind of whooped everyone's ass to kind of keep the place clean. Yeah, so the place is as clean as the riders in the house keep it. But yeah, it's a no frills place, man. There's this story that the guys told me that I don't know. You might hear it when you're there, but I'll tell it to you now. But Jack Bauer used to live in the house.
Oh,
the guy who rides on Cannondale. And and apparently back when he used to live there, he used to live on the top floor where you guys are now, and the place was completely leaking, when it was raining and stuff, so a lot of work's been done on the place and stuff. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It's a cheap place to live, right, at the end of the day.
It's good.
Yeah, it's only as clean as you keep it. So I mean, you learn how to keep your place clean.
Yeah.
Like this.
Definitely. Cool. So first, so you've been there what now? 3 days. Thursday.
3 days,
Thursday
yeah.
you get there. Friday, Saturday, and today's Sunday. So almost coming on 4 days. Two things that you love about the place so far.
The area nearby, the supermarkets nearby, then the decathlon. We loved it, man. It's nearby.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah.
Then the people who live here with us, the other guys.
Yeah.
That's a nice guy. And I think Naglis is super cool, man.
Naglis is super cool, man. He's an
Hilarious.
awesome guy.
Yeah. No, he is awesome, man. He's like legend. Doesn't give a shit. That's awesome. And what about who all is at the house right now? So last year we had Peter and Michael. Those are the two guys who kind of really helped us out with all the races and taking us around the place. Who are the guys this year who are kind of there to show you stuff?
So basically, Michael is still here, but Michael has given up racing. So he's he's not into racing now. He doesn't ride. He doesn't race. So I mean, there's very little help coming in from him. Which is probably why we're not going to today's race, because these guys don't want to go and we don't have anyone to take us and stuff like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Peter, we met him only the once. I don't even know where he stays.
Yeah, he's staying with his girlfriend now. But yeah. So who drives the car then these days in the house?
Michael drives the car, and I think Naglis also drives.
Okay. Yeah, Naglis. I mean, he's so busy though with work and stuff at the house, right? So
He's busy.
So okay, so only those two guys drive. So it looks like you guys will be having to plan your racing and training a little bit more around what's close by. Because last year, out of the 20 races that we took the car to about five to six, I think. About 5 to 6 races we took the car. So you guys are going to have to plan your racing a little bit better, so that, the races that you go to are actually the ones that are close by. And that's one of the things I just want to quickly touch on. Other thing is, what are one of the challenges you faced so far that you think you're going to have to figure out how to work over the next 60 days?
One challenge is language for sure, and language in the sense we can get around with communication, because I mean most of the guys know a little bit of English. But then signboards, reading newspapers, reading menu cards, reading the bills you buy, reading the prices of items and all. It's just going over it.
There are a couple of words that you have to kind of once you pick up, there's a vocabulary of about 20-30 words. Once you pick that up, you manage to make by. But I mean, so do you know any Dutch words yet?
No.
Zero, not even one.
Not even one.
Wow.
Guten appetit, yeah.
That's bonus.
What the hell is that?
Sorry. Bon
That's
appetit,
French.
sorry.
That's French, I'm pretty sure.
But they all say it.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. That's it. Okay. All right. Sweet. So you guys have to pick up some Dutch vocabulary, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So language is something that you guys think you're gonna have to figure out a plan for, yeah?
Yeah.
It's strange because I don't know, the group. I guess we didn't have as much of a challenge as that. So how many people in the house with you guys this year?
How many what?
Sorry?
How many guys in the house this year?
I didn't get that.
How
many people at the house besides you guys?
Yeah, there's the 3 guys. One from the States, one from Australia, one from South Africa, and there's Michael,
Awesome.
Naglis, and the 3 of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it's about 7 guys. That's like low traffic at the house. At one point last year, we had about 15 people in the house, and it gets pretty crazy there.
That's too much. I don't know how you can accommodate so many people in this house.
It's insane. It's literally the limit, man. Literally the limit. Okay, cool. So have you guys figured out? So what I want to touch on is planning training and racing. Since it's really going to be up to you guys, how much you do and when you do it and how you get to those races. That's super important, right?
Yeah.
So let me just. So do you guys have a plan for that? Have you figured out where the races are and when they are and which ones to do? Have you figured out a system yet?
No, and so look,
No.
we had a look at the website which has all the races on it. Yeah, that website is also in Dutch, but it can be translated, so that's not much of a problem. Yeah, and again, after that, it's tough to find the races on that website because I don't know. I really couldn't make too much sense of it.
Right. Okay. So basically, looking at the website doesn't make sense right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the people who are staying with us, the other guys, so we can get it to know from them. They also have the GPS in the Garmin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now you're reliant on the guys at the house, basically.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. So I'll quickly, I guess, let me try and do this. Let me try and screen share with you and quickly navigate what. I wonder, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me actually, so this is the website, right? So I'm creating this document. It basically has a kind of a one-stop thing, race calendar. You can just click on it, things like that. So you go to the Wheelerbond website, right?
Yeah.
And you click on calendar. And that kind of spits up this sheet, right, of dates and stuff, right? So have you guys figured that out yet? Kind of what things are on this sheet? Okay, cool. Yeah, so you can adjust the dates, right? And basically, the latest ones come up top. So do you know what all of these small things mean on the screen? Like LB, A, these letters here?
Nope.
So that is the region in which the races are, okay? When you select this calendar, you pick the dates, so the dates in which you want to plan your races that you want to see. Then you go to provincie, which means provinces, okay? So provinces are basically, Belgium is split up into regions, okay? And all of provincie means all of Belgium. Antwerp is in the northeast of Belgium. Limburg is in the southeast. The region you guys are in is called Oost-Vlaanderen, which is East Flanders, okay?
Okay.
So basically the only races you need to look at are the ones in Oost-Vlaanderen because you don't have a car, right? So Oost-Vlaanderen is you're in the center of East Flanders and everything that's 30 kilometers around you is basically East Flanders, okay? So you pick that and these are literally the only races you have. Although the calendar has a lot of races, these are the only ones you can actually ride to, okay?
Okay.
So like the ones in West Flanders and all that, you need a car to get to. It's far away. So basically, just narrow down your search. Just click on Oost-Vlaanderen, which means East Flanders, and whatever shows up is what you can do. Basically, today there was a chance, and then you got to figure out. Once you figure out the region, you can also sort by discipline. But the only races that happen now are road races. So the only ones you have to click on are so these are the different things. So you have club championships, you have road. Weg means road, so you click that, so that filters it down even more, and that gives you just the road races because you don't need to look at the piste, which means track, veldrijden, which means cyclocross, MTB, BMX. None of those apply to you, so only click on Weg, which means road races, okay? And then filter it down further by going to category. Minimen means youth. Aspirant means kind of 13 to 14. Nieuwelingen means kind of under sub-juniors. Junior is 18-year-olds. So the only races you need to look at are elite zonder contract. So that those are basically the elite men races, which are the ones you guys are eligible to do. Okay.
Okay.
So boom, all of a sudden that calendar, which has like 50 different options, will narrow down to about, a lot less, So if you look, for example, now, if you look at the month of, so this is the week of, this is basically this week from the 3rd to the 9th of July, right? These are literally the races you can do in East Flanders. And if you look at it at the top, today the race you could have done is Zwan, right?
Yeah.
So the way I do it is this: I select the race, it pops down, and then you got to figure out what all this says, right? So basically, this tells you the distance, 100K, tells you the prize money, okay, and tells you the winner's prize, okay. It tells you the name of the cafe where the registration is. So this allows you to plug this into your Google Maps to find out exactly where the race start will be, okay.
Okay.
So this race was going to start in Café de Wolf, Rosenberg, Klein, in Zwan, okay? And then you'll see this U. This is basically the start time. So the third number is the start time, okay? This is when registration opens. This is when registration closes. And this is when the race starts, okay? So that's how you know how to schedule your arrival there. And typically plan to get to races literally exactly 1 hour before the start. So you have enough time to get your numbers, pin, pump up your tires, stuff like that, okay? The other thing is, what is the contact of the person running the race, which is this. If you have any questions about what the course is like, things like that, you can actually send these people an email, and they will reply. And so that's a nice way to figure out if the course is like, something that's worth riding. If you have multiple options to race during a day, to figure out which one is the best, you can just contact the people. But you have to contact them a little ahead of time, so they're not, you don't contact them when they're busy. Yeah, so pretty much looking at this, you can figure out everything you need to know. And the key is just kind of eliminating the races that you can't do by kind of filtering out the options, So province, East Flanders. Sometimes look at West Flanders also, because West Flanders is very close by. And sometimes if the race is on the far corner of West Flanders, it can be close to you,
Okay.
So look for anything with a W or an O in the bracket, basically. Okay? Because that's what's going to be close to you. And then once you figure out if a race is good to do, for example, Zwan, right? What I would do is this. I would literally go copy this, go to, go to maps, boom, you enter Maria Kerk, and boom, you enter it. This will tell you exactly pretty much where it is, and this way you know whether it makes sense going to a race. And you can also plan your route based on that. So can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that, so basically this entire region is East Flanders, 30-kilometer radius, basically. And there's a lot of races within there. So for example, today's race, the challenge with getting there, one of the challenges of getting out of the city is that if you try to get out through the center of the city, you can get lost. Which is why what you should try and do is try to get onto the main highway, or get onto the main bike paths that go along the highway, and then get out of the city, so that way you don't get lost as much. And the thing is, once you get out in the country, it's easy to get lost because there are so many paved roads in Belgium, right? So the best thing to do is just kind of create a Strava route map and kind of upload it to your Garmin. Have you figured that out, Parshu?
No, Andy, not yet.
Okay, cool. It's pretty simple. Basically, you go to Strava routes, okay, and you create the route just based on where you are, right? So use the Google Maps in conjunction with the Strava routes. You just create it, you save it, and then just upload it to your Garmin. And the way you do that, I've set the instructions for how to do that. So you create the route, you save the route, you export it. You select your device type. So yours is a Garmin Edge 500. You download a file called a TCX, okay? and you drop the TCX file into your new files folder in your garment. And that's it. And then your files on your garment. So that way you guys can go to races without having to depend on anyone, you know. So try that out. Try that out. I would say tomorrow for the race that's happening on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So the race that's happening on Tuesday, for example, this is the map. So do you guys have an idea of where you are with this, in respect to the whole of Belgium?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So you landed kind of in the center, and then you took a train all the way to Ghent. What you did, well, you took a train to Ghent, but what you did is you took a bus to Igloo, which is a city over here. Right? Whereas Igloostraat is in Ghent. So so if you zoom into Ghent, you guys are basically in the northwest part of the city. Okay. And the race that you're going to on Tuesday is a place called Kennesalar, which is over here. Kind of. Yeah. So yeah, it's super close by. So you're literally there, and the race is in that region. Okay. Have you guys figured out the Ghent-Bruges Canal yet?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so that's okay. Super. Yeah, that's one of the best. It's the kind of I think the route we rode the most when we were there, because it was like pretty easy to figure out. So basically, you guys are living over here. What you will do to get to Kennesalar is basically take the Ghent-Bruges Canal and just stay on it. And then once you get to the exit for Kennesalar, you'll get off the bike path and then go to the race, which is over here. Pretty straightforward. So it's about 30 Ks, but it's all on bike path. So it's like super easy to get to. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys how you kind of go about the process of planning, kind of getting to a race, you know. So use the calendar, use the Google Maps, use your Strava routes, and boom, it's pretty straightforward. The thing is, you have to plan your races. You have to look at races, what races are coming up to 2 weeks ahead of time, because you got to plan the route to it, and typically what I used to do last year was, say there was a race happening 4 days down the line, I would actually plan the route to the race, figure out exactly how to get to the race, so that in 4 days time, I know exactly how to get there, and even if I get lost or whatever, I'm not in shit, I'm not missing the race basically,
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely suggest doing that. So that leaves you with basically, once you filter down the races that you're doing, you only have an option. For example, this week, you've got an option to do a race today, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, so that's not a lot of options, right? Actually, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's every day except Thursday. Yeah, but when you drop these places onto Google Maps and stuff, you find out that some of them are like 40 kilometers away. But to be honest, in your first 3 weeks there in Belgium, the goal should be. So another document that I've created is this, and I haven't fully created it, but the idea of it is this, I'll make a calendar of dates, okay? You guys can enter how many hours you're training, okay? And basically, our goal every week will be to reach a certain number of hours of training, okay? So the thing is, so for example, let's look at this week, okay? So basically tomorrow is the 4th, right? So tomorrow, what are you guys going to end up doing, you think?
Not planned yet.
Okay, so if you're going and doing a short ride today, that's about 2.5 hours, right? And the main thing that you're doing is zone 1, zone 1 plus a little bit of zone 6 work, right? Like a couple leg openers, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of gives you an idea of how to plan. So what did you do? What did you guys do on Saturday? How many hours did you do?
Saturday is today.
No,
Today is
it's yesterday.
Sunday.
You
Okay.
guys,
So
you
yesterday
guys
what
drove to
happened?
Delhi.
We
Yeah.
did, but it wasn't really like training. So what happened is we needed to fix our bikes yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So we went to the decathlon in the morning
Okay.
and yeah, got them part fixed. Whether Arvind's bike got fixed, mine didn't.
Okay.
So then after that we came back home and immediately rode to watch the race,
Okay.
which is about 12K away.
Yeah.
And yeah, we watched the race and fixed my bike while watching, and then got back home.
Okay.
About 30 to 35 Ks of just riding, nothing
Yeah.
serious.
Okay. Okay. So we call it zone 1, 35 kilometers, and so basically 2 hours of riding was probably around an hour and a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys do on Friday?
Yeah, Friday nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Thursday is when you guys got there, so nothing there also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so this gives you an idea for what you did in the previous week. You did about 4 hours of riding. You covered about 35 kilometers. And I will split up this. I will make it an easy way for you guys to kind of measure what kind of training you're doing. So I'll kind of come up with some metric here so that you just enter zone 6 and you say 30 minutes. And then it gives you some idea of the amount of work you've done. So I'll come up with a formula for that. And you guys can use this sheet. So I've created one for each one of you. And so whatever you do, just after your ride, come in, put in the number of hours you've ridden. This I will figure out how to measure it. And then put in the amount of distance, the distance you've ridden. So today, say you're going to do about 2.5 hours. And it's based 2.5 hours. See, if you're doing mainly, the goal of this ride is it's just an easy spin for an hour. Okay. The middle of the ride is getting a couple leg openers in, a couple 30-second efforts, I would say 4 maximum, with proper recovery. And zone 6 with proper recovery, so 10 minutes, and that's it, and then come back easy, small ring, so this entire thing will take you about it'll take you about 2.5 hours, and you'll probably end up covering a distance of about 60K. That's not much.
Okay.
So don't ride any zone 3 or zone 4 because you guys are super fresh right now, because you come in off not much riding because of the travel and stuff. So use that freshness for the race on Tuesday, because you're going to need it. So Monday, say you're doing about an hour and a half, okay? Easy, and then on Tuesday you're doing your first race, right?
Yeah.
So I'll also record a way for you to kind of write down details. So the races are going to be about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, right? So how long do you guys think you're going to last in your first race? Makarand, how long? 45 minutes?
My lap is to hold on with them for 2 laps.
Yep. That'd be a good goal. If you can get in about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, that'd be awesome. And I think you're pretty capable of that. Parshu, what about you? How long do you think you last?
Going by this previous race that we saw, there was one breakaway of about 8 to 9 riders, I think. And yeah, I think I would have stayed with the main peloton, which got pulled, I think, after about 10 laps.
Yeah.
So I mean that's my assumption.
Yep. All right. So about an hour and a half. Say that'll be half the race, which is pretty good. So yeah, regardless of how long you end up lasting in the race, once you're done, you have to make a couple decisions. Okay. So basically, when you're in Belgium, and since this is your first time there, and the level is a little bit above our level, you're going to be faced with a couple scenarios. Okay. and you should have a plan for what to do in those scenarios. Okay. So I'm going to use this sheet for now, just to kind of talk it out and just to go through it with you. Okay. So basically, okay. So say you're in a race. Okay. And scenario one is you last about 10 to 15 minutes with the group. Okay. And you're off the back for another 10 to 15 minutes. And you spend kind of riding in the race scenario is about 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Second scenario is you end up lasting a little bit more, 25 to say about 45 minutes, and you stay in the back, or you stay off the back for another 10 to 15 minutes. So you accumulate about 30 to 60 minutes, right? Third scenario is you have a really good day. And if you have a really good day in Belgium, my definition of a really good day for a person who's racing a Kremetz for the first time is if you last half the race, which is 60 to 90 minutes, okay? And so then you accumulate respective amount of time. And then you'll have one day, this is hopefully towards the end of your trip there, where you last, through the entire race, right? So these are the four scenarios you're going to experience while you're there in Belgium, right? Now, based on each of these scenarios, you either call it, you either need to do more work, or you need to call it a day. So clearly, if you're in these two brackets, if you last anywhere from above 60 minutes or above, you're done for the day, right? You can go home and call it a day. What's really important with you guys and with us last year in Belgium was that if you end up only doing 30 to 60 minutes in a race, then you really have to do a little bit more work, so that 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, you're not in the same place you were on July 3rd. And so you have to figure out what do you need to do in these scenarios, okay? So this is my go-to rule of thumb. If you last only 10 to 15 minutes in a race and you're off the back for about 10 to 15, and so basically you've got anywhere from 0 to 30 minutes of racing, right? You need some work after the race, okay? So you take a little bit of a cool down, and this is the workout that I recommend. It's basically so basically you need to work your VO2 max. Okay, if you've lasted very, very short duration in the race, the reason why you're not able to stay with the pack is probably because your fitness level needs to come up. Okay, and so the way you get your fitness level up is by doing some speed work. So basically, what I've prescribed is this: 3 to 5 reps, 3 to 5 minutes. With 3 to 5 with equal recovery, 3 to 5 minutes of recovery. Okay, and this is a go-to workout if you start a race and you last for less than 30 minutes in it. Okay, this is the workout you need to do. So with speed work, basically tomorrow, if you do the race on Tuesday, right, and you last for about 15 minutes, right? Start off with the shorter duration reps, so the 3-minute reps, okay, and then slowly work your way up to the 5-minute reps, okay. And now here's the go-to workout if you last between 30 to 60 minutes, okay. It's work on your high-end power. So the reason why you probably didn't last more than 60 minutes or above 30 minutes in a race is not because, yes, your fitness is lacking a little bit, but one of the main things you're lacking is repeatability in your high-end efforts. So this is the go-to workout that I would do if you last anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes. So 6 to 8 reps, okay, of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds all-out efforts with 5 to 8 minutes recovery. Okay, so this is very similar to the ride that you're going to do tomorrow, which is or today, which is it's a leg opener, but this is actually a workout because the number of reps you're doing are a lot more. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the go-to workout that I would suggest you do if you last for about 30 to 60 minutes. All right. And this will make a lot of sense once you do your first race on Tuesday. Cool. So that is one of the things I wanted to touch on. Okay. So the other concept I wanted to touch on quickly, which allows you to plan for your next 60 days in Belgium. Okay. 60 days is how many weeks?
8 weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks.
3.5 weeks, right? You guys are familiar with the term called a mesocycle, right?
Yeah.
Not really.
Little bit. Okay. So I'll explain what it is. So basically, it is the length or the duration of time in which you should plan a month of training. Okay. So a mesocycle, so this is the number of days you're there. This is the number of weeks. This is the number of mesocycles. So a mesocycle is 4 weeks long. Okay. And as 4 weeks long. And further, it is defined as 3 plus 1, okay, which gives you 4 weeks. So if you see how many, you have 8 weeks, right? How many mesocycles is that?
2.
Yeah, it's 2 mesocycles, okay? So basically, you've got 2 chances to lift your fitness up. You can lift your fitness up by 2 levels in your 60 days in Belgium. That's essentially what this says, okay? So now how do you go about planning that when you have races and training and the weather is bad and things like that? So that's the that's the thing you have to unlock basically, you know, with your time there. So the options, there are 3 things you can do in Belgium, right? You can race, you can train, or you can rest, right? And call it recover. Rest implies not doing anything, right? How do you decide when to do which one of these? Okay. So basically, this is the idea. So mesocycle 1, Belgium for you guys, should be follow this formula. Okay, 2-3 races per week, and rest is training.
Rest is
Training.
okay.
Okay, and that should be the formula for your first mesocycle. Okay. So that will bring you about to the end of July. Okay. Second mesocycle, the goal should be 1 to 2 races per week and recovery. And a little bit of training. Okay, so that will be your focus. Okay, so and I've written in this particular order because the most important thing you will do in July is racing, a lot of training, and a little bit of recovery. And in August, the goal will be lesser races, more recovery, so going into your races more fresher, and a little bit of training just to keep your fitness ticking over. Okay. So this is kind of the structure that you should aim for, you know. And in terms of how many hours should you train, right? This is the goal that I will set, okay, for you guys, because it worked really well for me last year. And based on how much I think you guys have been working, I think the guy who's been getting to ride the most, I think, would be you, Parshu, before you came to Belgium. And second, probably Makarand. And third, probably Arvind, because Arvind was sick in June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I would set as training volume goals for you guys for the month of July. For your first week there, shoot for about 16 hours, okay? For your second week, shoot for about 18. And for your third week, ride your legs off, okay? And so this ride your leg off thing is a very delicate balance, okay? Put yourself to where you're, really riding to the limit of how much you can ride in a week, okay? And so 16, 18, and 20 should be your goals for your weekly hours spent on the bike training, okay? And then in the fourth week, you will take a recovery week, which is about 10 hours, 10 to 12, okay? And then you come back and you will start building on this. So basically, the goals for the second mesocycle would be 15, 17, 19. So you'll notice that the number of hours are less, okay? But this is based on the assumption that the hours that you will be riding at a much higher intensity. So say you are lasting only 30, 40 minutes or 45 minutes or 60 minutes in races in this first mesocycle. One, because your fitness level is not where it needs to be. And the second, because you are also training at a high volume. So you're not going to be less fresh in the races, okay? But that's okay. That's okay because you have to make that compromise, right? And then the goal would be you take a little bit of a break, right? And then come back and you decrease your training volume by about an hour or 2 hours per week. But hopefully you're lasting 15 to 30 minutes more in each race, So the volume has come down a little bit, but you're lasting more in races. And now your very last, your 8th week in Belgium, there's 2 things you can do. One is you can ride the wheels off, which is up to about 22 hours. Because anyway, you're going to come back to India and that's going to be recovery. And I think that's what would be the best thing for you to do. So your best races are going to be kind of in week 7 and week 8. Okay. So this is the thing I wanted to touch on. So I've kind of used this Excel sheet to just kind of present it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clean kind of presentation for it in a couple sheets, and you guys can go back to the sheet and refer to this stuff and look. And when you so this will be a much more usable sheet in about a couple hours. But basically, use this sheet to fill up how many hours you're training, so that you can keep track of whether you're touching your weekly goals. Okay, for hourage. So for example, say you're doing the race on Tuesday and you last about an hour. And if you last about an hour, the next day is going to be a recovery day, If you last under an hour, then the next day will probably be a training day, some sort of endurance ride, okay? And after that, you're going to need a recovery day. And then say you're going to do another race. Say you last about, half an hour, right? Or 45 minutes, right? And if you last 45 minutes, then the next day you need to do some training, so say about a 3-hour or 3.5-hour endurance ride. And you notice that you only come to 11.25 hours for the week, correct? So now the question is, you've done a race on Friday, you lasted 45 minutes. You've done a 3.5-hour training ride on Saturday, and you're still about 5 hours short of your weekly training goal. So what you have to do on Sunday has all of a sudden become blatantly clear. You have to do at least 4.5 hours of riding to get up to 16. So boom, that's your answer, So the beauty about kind of using kind of this sheet to plan your training is, by the time you're halfway through the week, you know that in the next 4 days, right? Say you're halfway through the week, and you're only at, say, 5.5 hours. You know that in the next 4 days, you have to get another 10 hours of training. So that allows you to plan your racing and your training. And you can do that only if you set yourself a training goal, correct?
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And that's if you guys don't do anything during your trip in Belgium, this is the one thing that you need to do. You need to plan the next 60 days out, and you need to have an idea. So what I would do is 3 of you guys, sit by a computer. One of you work on their own personal sheet. Another guy work on a Google sheet a Google Maps to plot out the distance, and a third guy look at the calendar. So all three of you sit together. One guy is looking at the race calendar, another guy is looking at the distance to the races, and a third guy is actually entering which races make sense to do. And once you guys create a calendar, then you guys know what you're going to be doing for the next 60 days. And you can plan all your other stuff around it. You can plan your training rides. You can plan your, trips and stuff like that. But this is like one of the most important things you'll do there. And it's going to be hard to do it for 60 days. So probably do it for 2 weeks at a stretch, And so, like I said, I'll clear up the sheet so that you guys can actually use it to kind of plan stuff. Any questions regarding this?
Yes.
Sure.
One question is, say we're riding to a race, and we last an hour in the race or whatever.
Correct.
Supposing we last an hour in the race.
Correct.
And riding to the race and riding back is another 1 hour.
Correct. Yeah.
Do we add that time?
So you totally add that time. So say a race is 30 kilometers away. You last an hour in the race, which if you last an hour in the race, it was probably a race where the average was around 40 kilometers an hour. So you did 40 Ks. You rode 30 Ks to the race, and you ride back 30 Ks to the race. Ride back 30 Ks from the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that particular day, you would put in the workout time 3 hours, because that's literally how much time you rode.
Got it.
Zones, and typically when you ride to races, you're going to end up riding in zone 1. Anything more than that, you're probably going to pay for it in the race. And when you ride back, if you spent an hour in a race, you're probably not going to have the legs to ride anything more than a zone 1. So the rule of thumb I would keep is riding 2 races and back, put it into your small ring and spin. That's it. The race ultimately is the most sacred time that you have, because ultimately that's what you're in Belgium for. It's so that with every race you're lasting longer, you're learning something, you're maybe hitting a peak power number, something like that. So preserve your freshness for the kermesses. Everything else is just an addition. So that would be the answer to your question.
Got it.
And in Belgium, pretty much, if you're lasting 60 minutes in a race, an hour, the next day, don't even think twice about it, is a recovery day. Okay, do not even attempt to train the next day. That is if you're 60 minutes and above. If you are 90 minutes and above in a race, the next 2 days, recovery. Don't even think about it. Okay.
Next 2 days.
Next 2 days recovery. So how much recovery? What you can do is you can do a little recovery hack. So typically when I say recovery, I mean at most 1.5 hours. Okay. That's what I mean by recovery. Now, if you do, say you last 90 minutes in a race, I said the next 2 days recovery, right? What you can do instead is a little recovery hack. So on the day right after the race, maybe you can do 3 hours in zone 2. So an easy endurance ride. And then the next day, just do a zone 1 ride, so 1.5 hours. But basically what I'm saying is, if you last more than 90 minutes in a race, in Belgium, knowing your guys' level, and this is based off knowing my level, your body needs that much time to recover. Even though you may not feel it, you can pay for it later. So 90 minutes and above, if you are actually in the racing, without question, 2 days of recovery, but one day will be a soft recovery and the other day will be a hard recovery, so to speak, So the soft recovery is a delicate balance between getting some working out in, but at the same time not building up too much fatigue. And then hard recovery is basically purely just letting your body kind of repair. That's it. So that's the idea. So so this is kind of the main thing that I wanted to touch on, really. What I hope you guys will do in the next hour, or once you guys are done with your ride today and tomorrow, what I hope you guys will get some time to do is I'll clear up the sheet, and what I want you guys to do is just plug in your plan for the next 2 weeks. So from the 4th, which is Monday, to the 17th. Just kind of look at the races that are available and just put in the number of hours that you want to hit on each day. You know, the one thing that I don't typically take into account when I plan my training and racing in Belgium was the weather. Regardless of the weather, do your riding and racing. There will be occasional situations where the weather is just like really out of your comfort zone. And on those days, give yourself, you can go a little easy on yourself, but don't do it often. Don't do it more than 1 or 2 times during your trip there, So pretty much plan your week regardless of whether anyone is going to ride with you to the race, regardless of whether there's a car, just plan it. And then everything just kind of falls into place. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's an hour up. So you guys need to go for your ride, and I need to get a ride in also on dinner. So I think that kind of touches on everything I wanted to touch this time. Yeah, like I said, I will update the sheet, and then you guys update the sheet, and get your first race in on Tuesday. Things will become a little bit more clear, and maybe we'll catch up next Sunday, and maybe we'll have a guest on who can maybe help give us a couple of pointers with regards to how to deal with the challenges of racing in Belgium and stuff like that. But it'll make more sense once you guys actually get your first couple of races in.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Any other questions?
No questions as such.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Awesome. Yeah. And in terms of your different levels, like Arvind is, say at a certain level, and Makarand is at a certain level, and, Parshu is like right in between. Arvind's fitness is going to come back quick. You haven't ridden for a month, Arvind, but your fitness is going to come back pretty quickly. But you have to be a little bit careful not to do too much, because right now you're fresh, so you feel like you want to do a lot. But those hour goals that I've set is true for everyone there. If it's not true for anyone, it's for Makarand. So Makarand can probably take off 2 hours of all of those numbers that I put there. But see how you feel, see how you do in your first race, and based on that, go from there, But yeah, that's the only additional note. Yeah, don't try to do anything, keep your rides, every ride should have a goal there. Racing, the whole point is intensity, right? With the other focus is recovery rides, right? With recovery rides, don't do any ride that's above an hour and a half is not recovery. Okay, keep that in mind. And then the third thing is training. So like I said, in the first month, the idea is work on base, and volume. And in the second month, we'll talk about what you need to do in terms of intensity, but that's the general idea. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think that's pretty much it, man, for this this session.
One more question, Anjay.
Shoot.
So we'll get in the hours as per schedule in the week. Now, in those hours, how we plan our training in such a way that we get to know which days are going to be intervals, which days are going to be zone 2, zone 3.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Like so let's put it this way. Come up with your because with any training schedule in Belgium, everything is built around the races, because you can't move the race day and the race time, right?
Yeah.
So the first step would be one person on the calendar, another person on the Google Maps, a third person on this Excel sheet that we've created. Fill in the options for races. Okay. Once you fill in the options for races, you get one certainty and one uncertainty. The certainty is how far it takes to get to the race, and how far it takes to get back. Okay. So for the Kennesalar race, it's 30 kilometers to the race and 30 kilometers back. So for the Kennesalar day on Tuesday, you're going to have to put down 60 kilometers. The uncertainty is you don't know how long you're going to last in the race, but estimate it as 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Okay, put it in as that. Okay.
Okay.
So fill in the race days and the race day volumes first, and then everything else will start to fill in terms of where can you put things, but start with the race days, then fill in the hours for the total hours of training for the remaining days. And then regarding your question as to what to do on that particular day, that is something that we can sit down and talk about once we do the outline part,
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple. There are only in this phase of training, when you're doing a lot of races and you're doing a lot of volume, the only thing that you can really do is, if you're fresh, you do speed work and zone 6 stuff, so zone 5 and zone 6. If you're just trying to add a little bit of volume, the only thing you'll do is zone 3 or zone 2. That's it, So the thing that we won't be doing in this kind of month is zone 4 stuff, So no like 10-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute efforts. There's not a lot of point in that. But yeah, let's see how you guys go in your first race. Based on that, we'll know what we need to do. If you guys go pretty good in your first race, then yes, maybe we'll start with some zone 4 stuff, and a lot of base, and so it depends. Let's see how your first race goes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Sweet. All right, cool. And on that note, have a good ride, guys, and yeah, update that sheet as soon as you get a chance, and we can kind of collaborate on that and start creating a plan. Yeah.
Yes. Cool.
Sweet. Awesome. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Yeah. Get
Bye.
back soon.
Bye bye.